Most travelers over 70 get on a plane thinking they should simply accept whatever they are given. The assigned seat, the small drink, the tiny snack, the long wait to board or get off the plane. But many flights have quiet comforts you can politely ask for. Extra time to board, a better seat if one opens up, water for medication, hot tea, extra snacks, or help with a tight connection. Airlines rarely announce these things, and flight attendants may not offer them first. So today, I'll show you 13 simple requests that can make flying after 70 easier, calmer, and more comfortable. And number 1 is the quiet request that can keep helping you long after this flight is over. Number 13. Ask for extra time to board. If walking down the jet bridge takes you a little longer, if lifting your bag feels harder than it used to, or if you simply need more time to find your seat and settle in, you can politely ask to board early. You do not need to be in a wheelchair. You do not need to explain your medical history. And in many cases, you do not need a visible condition at all. The reason this matters is simple. Boarding can become stressful very quickly. People line up behind you. Bags are being pushed into overhead bins. The aisle fills up. Everyone feels rushed. But when you board a little earlier, you can move at your own pace, place your belongings carefully, and sit down before the cabin becomes crowded. The best time to ask is before general boarding begins. Walk up to the gate agent calmly and say, "I'd appreciate a little extra time to board if that's okay." That sentence is polite, simple, and respectful. And for many older travelers, it can change the entire start of the flight. Number 12. Ask if a better seat has opened up. A middle seat can make even a short flight feel uncomfortable. For travelers over 70, it can be even harder. You may need to stretch your legs, stand up carefully, reach your bag, or use the restroom without climbing over 2 other passengers. But here is what many people do not realize. Your seat may not be completely final until boarding begins. Sometimes, passengers miss connections. Sometimes, families are moved around. Sometimes, aisle or window seats open up at the last minute. And gate agents may have the ability to move you if there is an available seat in the same cabin. The key is to ask politely, not demand. Arrive at the gate early, wait for a calmer moment, and say if an aisle or window seat has opened up, I'd be very grateful. That sentence works because it sounds respectful and easy to say yes to. You may not always get moved, but when you do, it can turn a cramped flight into a much easier one without paying extra at booking. Number 11. Ask for the full can, not just the cup. When the drink cart reaches your row, most passengers accept the small plastic cup without thinking twice. A little soda, a few sips of juice, maybe half a can poured quickly over ice. But on many flights, you can politely ask for the full can. It is not a special reward. It is simply something many passengers do not know they are allowed to request. This can be especially helpful for travelers over 70. A small cup may not be enough on a longer flight, especially when the cabin air feels dry or when you want something to sip slowly. The best moment to ask is when the flight attendant first takes your drink order. Keep it simple and friendly. "May I have the full can, please?" Most of the time, if supplies allow, the crew will hand it to you without making it awkward. It is a small thing, but on a long flight, small comforts can make a bigger difference than people realize. Number 10. Ask if there are extra snacks. Most passengers take the snack they are handed and assume that is all there is. One small bag of pretzels, a cookie, maybe a tiny pack of crackers. But on many flights, there may be extra snacks in the galley, especially after the first service is finished. The crew may not announce it, because they are trying to serve the cabin quickly and make sure everyone gets something first. But if the flight is not full, or if supplies are left over, a polite request may help. For travelers over 70, this matters more than people think. A small snack can help if you need to take medication if your blood sugar feels low or if the flight is longer than expected. The best time to ask is after the main service when the crew is less rushed. You can simply say, "If there are any extra snacks available, I'd really appreciate one." You are not demanding anything. You are giving the crew an easy way to help, and often they are happy to do it. Number 9. Ask before moving to an empty row. A whole empty row is sitting just a few seats away while you are still squeezed between two passengers. Many travelers over 70 assume they are not allowed to move. They stay where they are even when a better seat is clearly available. But after boarding is complete and the seatbelt sign is off, flight attendants may allow passengers to move within the same cabin class. The important word is ask. Do not move into premium seats exit rows or extra legroom seats without permission. But if you see an empty standard row, you can politely check with the crew. A simple phrase works best. "Would it be okay if I move to that empty row after takeoff?" This gives the flight attendant a chance to confirm it is allowed and safe. And when the answer is yes, that one small move can give you more space, more privacy, and a much easier flight. Number 8. Ask about extra legroom before boarding. Extra legroom seats can cost more when you book online. But at the gate, the situation can change. Sometimes those seats do not sell. Sometimes passengers are moved. Sometimes the airline needs to adjust the cabin before boarding begins. And if an extra legroom or bulkhead seat is still open, a polite request may give you a better seat without paying the high price you saw earlier. For travelers over 70, this can make a real difference. More space means it is easier to stretch your legs, stand up carefully, and settle in without feeling trapped for the entire flight. The best time to ask is about 30 to 45 minutes before boarding, when the gate agent is working with the final seat map. Say it gently. "If any extra legroom seats are still open, I'd really appreciate one." Do not demand a specific row. Do not argue if the answer is no. But when the answer is yes, it can turn a tiring flight into a much more comfortable one. Number 7. Ask for hot tea from the galley. The drink cart may pass your row with coffee, soda, juice, and water, but that does not always mean those are your only choices. On many flights, especially longer ones, the galley may have hot tea available. Sometimes it is black tea, sometimes green tea, sometimes herbal tea like chamomile. The reason you may not see it offered is simple: hot drinks take more time to prepare and serve, so crews do not always mention them during a busy service round. But that does not mean you cannot ask. For travelers over 70, hot tea can feel more comforting than a cold drink. It can help you relax, settle your stomach, warm up in a chilly cabin, or simply make the flight feel less stressful. The best time to ask is after the main drink service, when the crew is not rushing down the aisle. You can say, "If you have any hot tea available, I'd really appreciate a cup." And if you prefer, you can ask for honey or lemon too. It is a small request, but on a long flight, it can feel like real comfort. Number 6. Ask for water when you need medication. Many travelers over 70 hesitate to press the call button. They worry they are bothering the crew. So when it is time to take medication, they wait for the cart sip from a tiny cup or delay taking it until the flight feels more convenient. But medication should not depend on the service schedule. If you need water to take a pill, you can ask. If you need a small snack with your medication, you can ask. And if your medication has to be taken at a certain time, it is completely reasonable to mention it calmly to a flight attendant. You do not need to explain your full medical history. Keep it simple. You can say, "I'll need to take medication around this time. Could I please have some water then?" This helps the crew understand what you need without making the moment uncomfortable. For older travelers, this small request can bring real peace of mind. You are not asking for special treatment. You are asking for basic support so you can take care of yourself safely during the flight. Number 5. Ask if the cabin temperature can be adjusted. A cold cabin can make a flight feel much longer than it really is. You sit there with your arms crossed, your jacket pulled tight, your hands getting colder, and you assume there is nothing anyone can do. But on many aircraft, the cabin temperature can sometimes be adjusted by section. It may not change instantly, and the crew may not be able to make the whole plane warmer, but if your row feels uncomfortable, it is okay to mention it politely. This is especially important for travelers over 70, because sitting still in a cold cabin for hours can make the body feel stiff, tired, and uneasy. The key is to ask once calmly after the flight has settled. You can say, "Our row feels a little cold. Would a small temperature adjustment be possible?" That phrase is respectful. It does not sound like a complaint. It simply gives the crew a chance to help. And sometimes, a small change in the cabin can make the rest of the flight feel much more comfortable. Number 4. Ask what to expect during turbulence. Turbulence can make even an experienced traveler feel nervous. The plane starts shaking. The seatbelt sign comes on. Drinks stop moving through the cabin. And suddenly, every small bump feels bigger because you do not know what is happening or how long it will last. But you do not have to sit there silently guessing. Flight attendants are often in communication with the pilots, and while they may not be able to give a perfect answer, they can sometimes tell you what the crew expects, whether the bumps may last a few more minutes, whether the plane is climbing to smoother air, or whether the seatbelt sign is just a precaution. For travelers over 70, that simple information can bring real calm. You can say, "I get a little nervous during turbulence. Do you know if it may last much longer?" Ask during a safe, calm moment, not while the crew is seated for rough air. Sometimes knowing what is happening is enough to make the rest of the flight feel less frightening. Number 3. Ask for help with a tight connection. A tight connection can turn a normal landing into a stressful race. You look at the time. You check the gate number. The plane is still taxiing. And all you can think is, am I going to make it? Many travelers over 70 stay quiet in this moment because they assume nothing can be done. But if your next flight is close, it is worth telling a flight attendant before landing. They may be able to give you useful gate information. Ask other passengers to let tight connections off first, or help arrange assistance at the arrival gate if the airline allows it. It is not guaranteed. But staying silent almost guarantees no one knows you need help. Have your next flight number ready and say, "My connection is very tight. Is there any way someone could help me at the arrival gate?" The key is to ask calmly before the plane lands, not after everyone is already standing in the aisle. For older travelers, this small request can mean the difference between a panicked walk through the terminal and a much smoother connection. Number 2. Ask to deplane after the rush. Landing can be one of the most uncomfortable parts of the whole trip. The plane reaches the gate, the seatbelt sign turns off, and suddenly everyone jumps up at once. Bags come down from overhead bins. People crowd the aisle. The jet bridge gets packed. And if you need a little more time to stand, gather your things, or walk carefully, that rush can feel overwhelming. But you do not have to fight your way through it. If you are not in a hurry for a tight connection, you can ask to stay seated until the crowd clears. Flight attendants are used to this, and many are happy to check on passengers who prefer to deplane last. Before landing, simply say, "I'd like to wait until the aisle clears before getting off." Is that okay? This gives you permission to move at your own pace without feeling pushed from behind. For travelers over 70, this can make arrival feel calmer, safer, and less exhausting. Sometimes the smartest way to get off the plane is not first, it is peacefully. Number 1. Ask for the flight attendant's name so you can say thank you. This may be the most overlooked request on the entire list. Most passengers think good service ends when the plane lands. A kind flight attendant helps them, brings water checks on them, or makes the flight feel easier, and then the passenger simply walks off the plane. But if someone on the crew truly helped you, there is one quiet thing you can ask for their name. Many airlines allow passengers to send compliments or commendations after a flight. These notes can matter to crew members. They may be seen by supervisors added to service records or simply remembered by the person who helped you. For travelers over 70, this is powerful because kindness often comes back around. When you fly the same airline again, crew members may remember passengers who treated them with respect. Near the end of the flight, you can say, "I really appreciate how kind you've been. May I have your name so I can send a compliment to the airline?" It costs nothing. It takes only a minute. But it turns you from just another passenger into someone the crew remembers. And sometimes that quiet thank you can make every future flight feel a little warmer. Flying after 70 should not feel like you have to stay silent, struggle alone, or accept discomfort just because nobody offered help first. Most of the requests in this video are simple. They are polite. They do not cost the airline much, and they do not make you a difficult passenger. They simply help you travel with more comfort, more confidence, and less stress. The real key is knowing when to ask, how to ask, and using a calm, respectful tone. So before your next flight, remember this one small question can change the entire journey. If this video helped you, subscribe to Flying After 60 for more smart, practical travel tips that make every trip easier from gate to landing.